The human fleet drifted silently through the endless darkness of the Zeta Prime system. Stars flickered in the distance, tiny points of light against the black void. Commander Ryland stood on the bridge of the Vanguard, staring at the sensors. For years, humans had explored the galaxy, charting new planets and systems, but nothing had prepared them for what they were about to find. "Commander," Mara, the lead scientist, said, her voice tense. "Sensors are picking up an energy reading from the planet below. It's unusual." Ryland leaned closer to the console. The readings were unlike anything he had seen before. The energy pulsed, almost like a heartbeat, deep within the planet's core. "Show me the visuals," he ordered. On the main screen, a barren world appeared. Mountains jutted sharply from the surface, and rivers of dark liquid snaked across the plains. But it wasn't the terrain that was strange. Tiny lights moved across the land, too regular to be natural. "Structures," Mara whispered, eyes wide. "Artificial. Someone or something built these." The fleet prepared for a standard survey mission. Human drones descended toward the surface, cameras beaming live footage back to the ships. The images sent a chill down every spine. The structures were enormous, stretching higher than the tallest human skyscraper. Their surfaces shimmered with an odd metallic glow, as if alive. Then something moved, not on the screens, but in the shadows between the towers. A giant shape shifted, too fast to track properly. The drone sent frantic signals back to the fleet. Mara frowned. "Commander, the planet, it's reacting to us." Ryland's hand hovered over the alert panel. "Stay calm. We've trained for hostile environments. Keep the drones moving, but don't take unnecessary risks." But the planet had other plans. The drone's cameras showed trees bending unnaturally, rocks sliding across the ground, almost like the world itself was alive. The human crew watched in stunned silence. This was no ordinary planet. This was a death world, a world designed to kill anything that intruded. The first attack came without warning. A drone vanished in a flash of light, shredded by an invisible force. Another followed seconds later. Mara shouted over the alarm sirens. "Commander, something is hunting us." Ryland's mind raced. Humans were skilled explorers, but they had never faced anything like this. He ordered evasive maneuvers, moving the fleet to higher orbit. The planet's surface seemed to ripple with anger, almost as if it had a mind of its own. Amid the chaos, one drone managed to send back a final transmission. The image was brief but horrifying. A massive shadow moved across the plains, taller than the largest human battleship, with glowing eyes that pierced the darkness. Then the feed cut out. The fleet regrouped, damage assessments flashing on every screen. No lives were lost, but the message was clear. The planet was alive, intelligent, and deadly. Mara turned to Ryland, her face pale but determined. "Commander, there's more." The drones detected an artifact at the planet's center. It's sending out the energy pulse we saw. It's calling us." Ryland frowned. "Calling us? Why? For a trap?" "Possibly," Mara admitted. "Or maybe it wants to communicate. I can't be sure. But whatever it is, it's powerful. And it's aware of us." The fleet's sensors began picking up unusual readings from the surrounding space. Tiny fluctuations, almost like faint signals, moved with unnatural precision. Ryland realized with a sinking feeling that they were not alone. Something or someone was observing them, hidden in the darkness beyond their sensors. Ryland's mind raced. They had come to explore, to discover new worlds. But this was different. This planet was alive. And whatever controlled it was ancient and intelligent. He knew that human ingenuity, courage, and adaptability would be tested like never before. The decision came quickly. The humans would send a landing team to investigate the artifact. It was risky, possibly suicidal, but the promise of discovery and survival demanded it. As the Vanguard lowered its shuttle toward the planet's surface, the shadows shifted again. The pulse of the artifact grew stronger, resonating in the minds of the crew. A strange whisper seemed to echo through the shuttle. Not words, exactly, but feeling, a warning, a lure, a threat all at once. Ryland gripped the controls. "Keep steady. Eyes open. This world will not give its secrets easily. Below, the planet seemed to breathe. Rocks moved, wind swirled without pattern, and somewhere in the distance, glowing eyes watched. The humans were explorers, brave and clever, but they were entering a world where the rules of nature no longer applied. And somewhere in the darkness, something waited. The shuttle descended. Every second stretched into an eternity. Outside, the landscape twisted and shifted, alive with danger. The humans had faced death before, but nothing like this. The artifact pulsed again, a heartbeat in the alien soil. Ryland swallowed hard. "We go in together," he said, more to himself than anyone else. "Whatever this is, we face it as humans, and we survive." The shadow moved once more, this time closer, and the planet whispered back. The shuttle touched down on the planet's surface with a soft thud, dust, and small rocks swirling around it. Commander Ryland, Mara, and the landing team stepped onto the alien soil. The air was breathable, but heavy with a strange metallic tang. The landscape stretched endlessly, jagged towers of shimmering metal rising like giant teeth from the ground. Mara's scanners beeped furiously. "Commander, the artifact is nearby. The energy reading is off the charts. But something else is here, too. Something moving." Ryland's eyes swept the horizon. Shadows flitted between the towers. Too quick, too precise to be animals. "Keep your weapons ready. Stay in formation. This planet isn't just dangerous, it's alive." They moved cautiously toward the artifact, a massive crystalline structure glowing faintly in the distance. Its surface pulsed with light, like a heartbeat. Mara reached out with her scanning device, her fingers trembling slightly. "It's communicating, but not in any language we know. It's sending thoughts directly into my mind." A sudden sound echoed across the plain, sharp, metallic, and alive. The team froze. Rocks shifted violently around them, forming jagged shapes that lunged forward. Drone-like creatures, seemingly made of metal and stone, attacked. They moved fast, striking with precision, aiming for the humans' weapons and limbs. Ryland shouted commands, directing the team to defensive positions. "Use the terrain. Don't let them surround us." Despite being outnumbered, the humans fought with cunning and teamwork. Mara activated a small pulse device that disrupted the drone's coordination, giving the team a brief advantage. Ryland noticed something alarming. The drones were adapting, learning from each encounter. Every tactic they tried worked for only a moment before the attackers adjusted. "Commander," Mara gasped, "the artifact. It's reacting to our actions. It's guiding them." Ryland's jaw tightened. The discovery was terrifying. The planet itself seemed to use the artifact as a control hub. Every drone, every moving rock, every shifting tree was a weapon of the planet, responding to the humans' presence. The team pressed on, pushing through the chaos. The artifact's pulse grew stronger with every step. Strange whispers filled their minds, warning them, urging them forward. Some team members shook their heads, trying to resist. The whispers were seductive, promising knowledge and power, if only they would step closer. Suddenly, a massive shadow fell over them. The ground trembled, and the air seemed compressed with an unseen force. Ryland looked up. A colossal figure emerged from the horizon. Its body was dark, towering, with glowing eyes that seemed to pierce through the very air. The team froze in awe and terror. Mara whispered, almost to herself, "It's alive, and it's watching us." The shadow moved with astonishing speed, striking down drones that came near as if protecting the artifact. It did not attack the humans, yet, but every instinct in Ryland's body screamed that the moment of safety was fleeting. The humans tried to communicate, raising shields and sending signals, but the figure ignored them. Instead, it circled the artifact, a guardian of unimaginable power. Then, the unexpected happened. A smaller, humanoid-shaped drone appeared near the artifact. It pulsed with the same energy as the crystal, almost like a messenger. It projected a series of images and sensations into Mara's mind. Fleets of warships, destruction of worlds, and the Deathworlder Armada moving through space. Ryland's eyes widened. "They're coming. The artifact is warning us." Mara shook her head, panic rising. No, it's not just a warning. It's a map, coordinates of their approach, and they are faster than we thought. If we don't leave soon, we'll be trapped. Before they could retreat, the ground shuddered violently. The shadows moved faster, forming shapes that lunged at the humans. The team fought desperately, using every trick, every weapon, and every ounce of courage. Rocks and trees became shields. Drones became tools to mislead the attackers. Rylan realized that human ingenuity was the only thing keeping them alive. Where brute strength failed, creativity succeeded. Using a combination of pulse devices, decoys, and rapid maneuvers, they finally reached the shuttle. As they lifted off, Mara's scanners captured one final vision. The colossal figure turned, watching them leave, as if remembering every detail. The artifact pulsed one last time, sending a clear message. The humans had survived the first contact, but the real threat, the Deathworlder Armada, was coming, and nothing in human history had prepared them for what was to come. Rylan gripped the shuttle controls. "This is only the beginning," he muttered. "We've seen their world, and now we've seen their warning. We need to prepare. Humanity can't fight blindly. We need every advantage we can find." The planet receded below them, a living fortress of metal, stone, and intelligence. The humans had survived, but the whispers of the artifact haunted them, promising that the real battle was still ahead. And somewhere in the dark reaches of space, the Deathworlder Armada began its journey, unaware that humans had already glimpsed their coming, and were preparing to meet it with courage, cunning, and determination. Back aboard the Vanguard, the human fleet regrouped in the silent expanse of space. The planet below disappeared behind them, but the memory of its living structures and the colossal shadow lingered in every mind. Commander Rylan sat in the command chair, staring at the holographic projection of the Deathworlder threat. Mara moved beside him, her face pale but determined. "Commander, the artifact's data has been partially decoded. It shows us the approach of the Deathworlder Armada. They are coming faster than we expected. And they are not just many, they are adaptive. Every tactic we use will be countered unless we think differently." Rylan nodded, jaw tight. "We've faced tough opponents before, but this is different. We can't fight them head on. We need strategy, cunning, and every advantage we can find. Start preparing simulations. I want every crew member ready for unconventional tactics." In the fleet strategy room, humans from every corner of the galaxy gathered. Pilots, tacticians, engineers, and scientists all shared the same determination: survival. Holographic star maps rotated in the air, showing possible entry points for the Deathworlder Armada. Mara traced lines with her finger. "They will try to surround us," she said. "Their approach is calculated, but predictable if we use misdirection. We can set traps, ambushes, even lure small groups into asteroid fields. But the artifact shows more than just movements. It shows weaknesses we can exploit, if we can understand them in time." Rylan leaned forward. "Then we have no time to waste. Split into teams. We'll focus on preparation and defense. Everyone else will work on offensive simulations. If we're going to survive, we need every edge." Meanwhile, engineers worked tirelessly, retrofitting the fleet with adaptive shields and experimental weapons. Pilots trained in asteroid belts, nebulae, and simulated enemy tactics. The humans were outnumbered, but their advantage was intelligence and unpredictability. Still, the mood was tense. Crew members whispered fears in corridors. Every new calculation showed the same truth. The Deathworlder Armada was massive, unstoppable in conventional terms, and growing stronger with every passing moment. Rylan walked among his people, offering words of encouragement. "We faced impossible odds before. We survive because we adapt, because we think, because we never give up. This is no different. We are human, and that makes us unpredictable. That is our greatest weapon." Hours later, Mara intercepted communications from deep space. Faint signals, encrypted, moving at high speed. She frowned. "Commander, these are scouts. They're testing our sensors. They're already here, waiting in the dark." Rylan's eyes narrowed. "Then we have a choice. Retreat and hope to survive? Or strike first, take control of the battlefield before they realize we are ready. The council debated fiercely. Some argued for caution, avoiding unnecessary risk. Others, like Rylan, believed in striking while the enemy was vulnerable. In the end, the decision was made. The humans were prepared to counterattack, using every advantage offered by intelligence, terrain, and creativity. Simulation after simulation showed possibilities, each one highlighting human ingenuity. Drones were equipped with false signatures to confuse the Deathworlders. Ships were programmed to change formations unpredictably. Even small mistakes were planned to lure enemy forces into traps. Mara worked late into the night on the artifacts data. The pulses seemed almost alive, sending subtle warnings and advice. "Commander," she said quietly, "the artifact might be guiding us. It's helping us understand how the Deathworlders operate. But we can't rely on it completely. They are adaptive and they'll learn quickly." Rylan nodded. "Then we make them learn the hard way. We survive by being human, by being clever, by being relentless." As the fleet prepared, the first signs of the Deathworlder Armada's approach appeared on long-range sensors. Tiny flashes of light, impossible to identify at first, grew into massive shadows stretching across the sensor grid. The humans' hearts raced, but their determination did not waver. In the quiet moments before battle, Rylan walked alone on the observation deck. Stars stretched endlessly before him, and he felt the weight of the coming war. He thought of the artifact, of the planet, and of the humans under his command. Each of them represented courage, intelligence, and resilience. "They think they can crush us," he murmured, "but they have never faced humans at their best. They don't know what we can do when we fight with our minds, with our creativity, with our will to survive. They will learn soon enough." The fleet moved into position near a dense asteroid field, ready for first encounter. Mara scanners picked up faint signals from the Deathworlder scouts. Rylan glanced at her, a grim smile on his face. "Tomorrow we test them. Tomorrow we show them that humans are not so easy to predict." Outside, in the darkness of space, distant shadows moved. The Deathworlders were coming, countless and powerful. But humans, united by courage and cunning, were ready. The calm before the storm was brief. Soon, the first clash would begin. And when it did, humanity would show that even in the face of an unstoppable force, ingenuity, teamwork, and a human spirit could tip the scales. The human fleet waited in the shadow of the asteroid belt, their ships camouflaged against the dark expanse of space. Commander Rylan stood on the bridge of the Vanguard, eyes fixed on the sensor grid. Every movement, every faint blip was watched. The Deathworlder scouts were close. Too close. "They're here," Mara said, her voice steady but tense. "Multiple contacts, approaching fast. Sensors suggest small strike groups, but they're highly coordinated." Rylan's hand rested on the console. "We expected scouts. That means the main armada isn't far behind. Remember, our goal isn't to destroy them all. We survive. We hit hard. We confuse them. We retreat if needed. Keep them guessing." The first scouts appeared as tiny blips on the sensors. At first, they seemed weak and unorganized, but Rylan knew better. Humans had learned from the artifact and the living planet. These enemies adapted faster than any human tactic. "Deploy drones and decoys," he ordered. "Use the asteroids for cover." Led them into traps. The fleet moved with precision. Ships darted between massive rocks, sending out holographic decoys that mimicked real ships. The Deathworlder scouts fell for it first, striking at empty space. But then they adapted, changing formation, moving with a speed and intelligence that unnerved even veteran pilots. Mara shouted from the science station, "Commander, they're analyzing our formations. Every move we make is predicted." Rylan's jaw tightened. "Then we become unpredictable, split into smaller units, attack from multiple angles, use the environment. Think like humans, not like machines." The first clash erupted with terrifying force. Energy beams lit the darkness, drones exploded, and ships spun in evasive maneuvers. The Deathworlders were brutal, fast, and deadly, but the humans were clever. Using asteroid shadows, they ambushed, misled, and outmaneuvered their attackers. A young pilot, Lieutenant Kira, screamed over the comms. "Commander, one of the scouts is breaking formation. It's heading straight for the vanguard." Ryland's mind raced. "Divert all defensive turrets. Deploy countermeasures. Don't let it hit the bridge." The ship shuddered as energy strikes hit shields, but the vanguard held. Kira's squadron swooped in, forcing the scout away. Humans were outnumbered, but their coordination, courage, and ingenuity allowed them to survive against overwhelming odds. Yet the battle was far from over. Mara's scanners picked up a massive change. "Commander, the scouts are calling reinforcements. They're signaling the main armada. If we don't finish this quickly, the full force will be on us before we can react." Ryland clenched his fists. "Then we finish the scouts fast, or we retreat strategically. Every second counts." Humans survive by acting fast, thinking ahead, and never giving up. Remember that. The humans adapted mid-battle, using unexpected tactics. They manipulated asteroid debris to block enemy paths, used electromagnetic pulses to disable smaller drones, and even sacrificed decoy ships to create openings. Each move showcased their intelligence and unpredictability, the hallmarks of human ingenuity. But the Deathworlders were relentless. Every time humans found an advantage, the scouts adjusted. Ryland realized a frightening truth. The main armada would be even smarter, faster, and more adaptive. Survival required more than courage. It demanded brilliance. Amid the chaos, Mara discovered a new insight from the artifact. "Commander, the artifact, it's showing a pattern. If we can anticipate their adaptation cycle, we can exploit it." Ryland acted immediately. "All units, listen. Use the pattern Mara discovered. Attack in the sequence she's identifying. Hit fast, retreat, then hit again. Confuse them, force them to make mistakes." The plan worked. The Deathworlder scouts faltered, caught off guard by a strategy they could not predict. Humans destroyed several drones and forced the rest to retreat, temporarily clearing the field. But the victory came at a cost. Several ships were damaged, and a few brave pilots were lost. The humans had survived, but the scars of battle were evident. Ryland looked at the fleet, exhausted but resolute. "We survived the first clash. That's all that matters. But remember, the full armada is coming. They will be stronger, faster, and smarter. And when they arrive, we must be ready." Mara nodded, her hands trembling. "The artifact, it warned us for a reason. The real battle isn't here. It's coming, and it will test everything we've learned." As the fleet regrouped, the stars stretched endlessly ahead. The humans had proven they could survive against the Deathworlders' first wave, but the real war was just beginning. Somewhere in the dark expanse of space, the first signs of the Deathworlder Armada became visible. Shadows larger than moons moved with purpose, heading directly toward the human fleet. The humans had won a small battle, but the war for survival was about to escalate to unimaginable heights. Ryland stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the approaching darkness. Prepare for the next wave. Humans don't run. We survive. We fight. And we win no matter the odds. The calm before the storm ended. The first clash was over, but the real test of human ingenuity, courage, and resilience was about to begin. The human fleet regrouped in orbit around a small moon, battered but alive. Commander Ryland stood on the bridge of the Vanguard, studying the damaged ships and the faces of his crew. Each one bore the weight of loss, but also the spark of determination. Humanity had survived the first clash, and now it was time to strike back. Mara pointed to the holographic display. "Commander, we've located a forward Deathworlder base. Small, but heavily defended. If we destroy it, we can disrupt their scouts and delay the Armada. It's our chance to turn the tide." Ryland nodded. "Then we take it. Small team, high precision. Human ingenuity, not brute force. We hit fast, hit hard, and leave before they can respond. Prepare the strike squad." The strike team assembled. Ryland, Mara, Lieutenant Kira, and a squad of elite pilots and engineers. The target was a fortress-like structure on the surface of a barren planet. Energy shields shimmered around it. Drones patrolled its perimeter, and the air itself seemed charged with danger. "Remember," Ryland said, "we're not just attacking. We're sending a message. Humans are unpredictable. Humans are clever. And humans never give up. The shuttle descended at high speed, weaving between jagged rock formations to avoid detection. Mara used the artifact to guide them through hidden pathways, the energy pulses showing weak points in the defenses. Suddenly, alarms blared. Patrol drones had detected them. The team braced as energy beams cut across the sky, striking the rocks around them. Ryland shouted orders, directing the squad to split and flank the enemy. Kira's squad launched small EMP devices, disabling several drones at once. Mara hacked into the base's systems, feeding false readings to confuse the defenders. Ryland led the main assault, targeting the energy core of the base with precision charges. The base fought back with brutal efficiency. Shields pulsed, and automated turrets opened fire. But humans were clever. Using the terrain, timing, and coordination, they avoided most attacks. Rocks tumbled down slopes, crushing advancing drones. Small explosions created distractions, pulling enemies away from key points. Mara's voice came over the comms, tense but focused. "Commander, the artifact is helping us predict their adaptive responses. Every time they adjust, I can anticipate it. This is our advantage." Ryland grinned. "Then we use it. Humans are quick thinkers. We strike, retreat, strike again, make them overextend." The team moved like a single organism, synchronized, each member covering the other. They breached the outer walls and planted charges on the central energy hub. As they retreated, the hub exploded in a brilliant flash, sending shockwaves across the base. Drones scattered, shields collapsed, and the Deathworlder patrols were thrown into chaos. But victory was not without cost. Lieutenant Kira's squad suffered losses, and several pilots barely escaped. The humans had won, but the enemy was adaptive, learning from every move, noting every strategy. As the shuttle lifted off, Mara analyzed the aftermath. "Commander, the artifact shows us patterns in their adaptation. Every action we take, they record and adjust, but we've delayed them. We've struck a blow to their forward operations. The Armada will arrive later than expected, giving us more time to prepare." Ryland nodded, pride and worry in his eyes. "We've proven that humans can fight against impossible odds. That's what matters. We survive, we adapt, and we strike when the time is right." Back aboard the Vanguard, the fleet celebrated small victories, repairing ships and tending to the wounded. The mood was tense but hopeful. Humanity had shown it could challenge the Deathworlders, even in small ways. Mara turned to Ryland, her eyes serious. "The artifact. It warns the full Armada. The main force will be unlike anything we've faced. Faster, stronger, and smarter. This counterattack is just the beginning." Ryland's gaze hardened. "Then we learn. We adapt. We prepare. Humans don't just survive. They find ways to win, even when the odds are impossible. That's who we are. That's why the Deathworlders will never fully conquer us." Outside, distant stars stretched across the void, silent witnesses to human courage. Somewhere in the darkness, the full Deathworlder Armada moved, unaware that humans had already struck back and had survived. The humans' counterattack had shown one undeniable truth. Cleverness, teamwork, and the indomitable human spirit could turn even the direst situation into hope. But the battle was far from over. The main conflict loomed closer, bigger and deadlier than anything humanity had faced. Ryland looked at the fleet, each crew member ready and determined. Rest for now. The next battle will test every skill, every mind, every ounce of courage we have. But when it comes, we will meet it head-on, and we will show them the full force of human ingenuity. As the fleet moved to defensive positions, a silent pulse resonated from the artifact. A warning, a promise, and the humans, united in courage and cunning, prepared for the challenge ahead. The calm of space shattered like glass. Long-range sensors lit up with hundreds of contacts, massive, coordinated, unstoppable. The Deathworlder Armada had arrived. Shadows larger than moons moved with precision, stretching across the starfield. Commander Ryland gripped the console, his jaw tight, his eyes scanning every blip. "They're here," Mara said quietly. "And they're larger than anything we predicted. Every scout we faced before was a warning. This is the real force. Ryland took a deep breath. All units, prepare for full engagement. Deploy defensive formations. Use every asteroid, every debris field. Make them pay for every inch of space. We fight smart or we don't survive. The first wave of the Armada surged forward. Massive ships, bristling with weapons, moved like a living wall of metal and energy. The human fleet was small, battered from the counterattack, but every ship was alive with determination. Ryland's voice echoed across the comms. Remember your training. Unpredictable maneuvers. Use the environment. Adapt faster than they do. Energy beams tore through the darkness. Shields flared. Human ships darted between asteroids, firing bursts, launching decoys, and using every trick they had learned. The Deathworlders were relentless, adapting instantly to every pattern, every move, every attack. Mara shouted from her station, "Commander, the Armada is learning faster than our simulations. Every move we make, they counter. If we don't act unpredictably, we'll be overwhelmed." Ryland's mind raced. The humans had survived countless battles before. But this was different. The enemy's numbers were staggering, and their intelligence seemed almost alien. "Then we become chaos," he said. "No pattern, no formation they can predict. Strike fast, retreat, strike again. Force them to react, not control." The humans executed a daring strategy. Small strike teams attacked weak points in the Armada's formation, while the main fleet used false signals to create illusions of larger forces. Asteroids were used as shields and weapons, crushing smaller enemy vessels. The humans' adaptability, creativity, and courage became their greatest weapons. But the Deathworlders were not passive. Massive energy waves tore through the asteroid fields, forcing humans to scatter. Entire squads vanished in flashes of light. The fleet was stretched thin. Mara analyzed the artifact frantically. "Commander, there's a pattern. The Armada adapts in cycles. We can predict the next cycle for a short window." Ryland's eyes sharpened. "Then we use it. Timing and precision. Hit where it hurts, then disappear before they can react." The humans executed the maneuver perfectly. Explosions rocked enemy ships. Decoys lured others into traps. The Armada faltered, at least for a moment, but the cost was heavy. Several ships were destroyed. Brave pilots lost in heroism that saved hundreds of others. Amid the chaos, Ryland noticed a colossal figure moving ahead of the main fleet, one of the Deathworlder leaders. Towering, armored, and intelligent, it seemed to direct the forces around it with uncanny precision. Every movement of the Armada echoed its guidance. Mara's voice trembled slightly. "Commander, that figure is not just a ship. It's controlling the fleet. We have to stop it, or everything else will fail." Ryland clenched his fists. "Then we strike it. Small teams, precise attack. Human ingenuity against brute force. We may lose some, but we will not be defeated." The attack was brutal. Human ships darted through energy fire, using every skill trick and decoy at their disposal. They planted charges on the colossal vessel, creating chaos in the enemy formation. Explosions rippled across the Armada, causing confusion, forcing ships to scatter, giving humans a fighting chance. Despite the losses, humanity held. The fleet adapted, using the artifact's guidance to anticipate enemy cycles. Every strike, every retreat, every calculated move showcased human brilliance. Even facing overwhelming numbers, the humans survived, proving once again that cleverness, courage, and unity could challenge the impossible. As the battle reached its peak, the stars themselves seemed to tremble under the fire of war. Energy beams cut across space, explosions lit the darkness, and the humans' perseverance shone like a beacon. Ryland watched the horizon, sweat on his brow, heart racing. "We survived the Armada's first assault," he said, voice firm. "But this is only the beginning. We fight, we adapt, we endure, and humanity will never break." Mara nodded, exhausted but resolute. "The artifact, it helped us survive today, but the war is not over. The Deathworlders are learning, evolving. We must evolve faster." Outside, the Armada regrouped, colossal ships adjusting, preparing for the next strike. But the humans had proven something vital. Courage, intelligence, and creativity could resist even the most overwhelming force. And in the endless darkness of space, the human fleet, battered but alive, prepared for the next wave. They had faced the full force of the Deathworlder Armada and survived. But the true test, the final battle, was yet to come. The human fleet drifted through the chaos of battlefield, battered but unbroken. The Deathworlder Armada still loomed, vast and terrifying, but something had shifted. Humans had survived wave after wave, using intelligence, creativity, and courage to turn even the deadliest scenarios to their advantage. Commander Ryland stood on the bridge of the Vanguard, eyes scanning the enemy formation. "This is it," he said. "The moment we either prove ourselves or fall. Listen carefully. Every move counts. Humans survive when we adapt, when we think, when we refuse to give up. Let's show them what that means." Mara pointed to the artifact's readings. "Commander, the pattern of their adaptation is clear. If we time our strikes perfectly, we can hit their command vessels. Their leader, the colossal figure from the last battle, is directing the Armada. Take it down, and we create chaos among their ranks." Ryland nodded. "Then we divide the fleet. Small strike teams target the command ships. The rest provide support, distract, and mislead. Every ship, every pilot, every action must be precise. The humans move like a single organism. Pilots weave through energy fire, using debris, asteroids, and their own decoys to mask movements. Mara directed attacks with calm intensity, guiding ships through the perfect strike patterns. Energy beams flared, explosions rocked space, and the Deathworlders struggled to respond. Ryland's strike team approached the colossal enemy vessel. It was massive, armored, and intelligent, responding instantly to every move. But humans were unpredictable. Using every trick they had learned, they dodged attacks, deployed false targets, and sent decoys to confuse the enemy sensors. "Now, Mara!" Ryland shouted. Mara activated the artifact's energy pulse. A surge of power hit the enemy vessel, destabilizing its systems. Ryland's team launched precision charges, striking weak points the artifact had revealed. Explosions tore across the vessel, disrupting its command and sending shockwaves through the Armada. The enemy ships faltered. Without guidance from their leader, the Armada became chaotic. Groups collided, fired on each other by mistake, and retreated in confusion. Humanity's ingenuity had turned the tide, but victory came at a cost. Many ships were destroyed, brave pilots lost in heroic acts that saved countless others. The fleet was battered, but the human spirit remained unbroken. Ryland looked out at the battlefield, determination burning in his eyes. "We've done it for now, but remember, survival is never permanent. Adaptation, intelligence, and courage, these are what keep us alive. And today, they've carried us through the impossible." Mara approached him, exhausted but smiling. "The artifact, it guided us, yes, but it was our choices, our teamwork, our courage that won this battle. Humans, we are more than just strength. We are unpredictable. We are clever. We are unstoppable when united." The human fleet regrouped, tending to the wounded and repairing damaged ships. Energy readings from the battlefield dimmed as the remaining Deathworlders retreated into the darkness of space. Humanity had survived the full force of the Armada. Against all odds, they had won. Ryland addressed the fleet. "Today, we fought against an enemy larger, stronger, and smarter than any we faced. And yet, here we stand. Not because of numbers, not because of weapons, but because of our minds, our hearts, and our will. Humanity survives. Humanity adapts, and humanity prevails." The artifact pulsed one final time, as if acknowledging the human victory. It had been a guide, a warning, and a test, and the humans had passed with courage, intelligence, and resilience. As the fleet moved forward, stars stretched endlessly before them. The galaxy was vast, full of unknown dangers, but humanity had proven one vital truth. Even against impossible odds, the human spirit could shine brighter than any darkness. Ryland looked at his crew, pride and respect shining in his eyes. "We fought together. We survived together. And when the next challenge comes, and it will We will meet it as humans always do, clever, courageous, and unbroken. The battle was over, but the story of humanity's bravery and ingenuity would echo across the stars. They had faced the Deathworlders and survived. They had proven that numbers, strength, and brute force were no match for intelligence, creativity, and teamwork. And somewhere in the galaxy, other civilizations would hear of humanity's courage. For now, humans had survived the greatest test yet, and the spirit of humanity burned brighter than ever before.